The distress beacon cut through the void like a knife. Captain Marcus Webb stared at the readings on his console aboard the USSS Frontier, his brow furrowed in confusion. "That's a Vakrine signal," Lieutenant Rodriguez said from the navigation station, her voice tight with concern. "But it's coming from the disputed zones." Marcus knew what that meant. The Vakrine were the galaxy's apex predators, a species so feared that entire star systems had been abandoned rather than face them in combat. Their ships were biological nightmares, their warriors stood 9 feet tall with claws that could tear through titanium, and their empire had crushed 17 civilizations in the past millennium alone. And humanity had been at war with them for 3 brutal years. "Captain, should we," Rodriguez began. "Plot an intercept course," Marcus interrupted. "Protocol be damned." A distress signal was a distress signal. 20 minutes later, they found the wreckage. A Vakrine scout ship, shredded by what looked like pirate weapons, drifting amid the debris field. Marcus led the boarding team himself, accompanied by Sergeant James Parker and Medic Emily Foster. The ship's interior was a charnel house. Adult Vakrine bodies lay scattered throughout, their purple blood frozen in crystalline patterns. Marcus had seen enough death in this war to last a lifetime, but something about this scene made his stomach turn. "Captain," Emily called from deeper in the ship. "You need to see this." In what appeared to be a sleeping chamber, huddled in the corner, was a Vakrine juvenile. It couldn't have been more than 6 or 7 years old by human standards, its scales still soft and mottled, its claws barely formed. The cub's golden eyes were wide with terror, and it hissed weakly when they approached. "It's injured," Emily said, her medical scanner already out. "Internal bleeding, malnutrition, and what looks like plasma burns. It won't survive another hour out here." Marcus felt every eye on him. This was a Vakrine. The enemy. The species that had glassed 2 human colonies and killed millions. Command would want it dead or captured for intelligence. But all he saw was a terrified child. "Get it to the med bay," he ordered. The next 48 hours tested every regulation in the book. Emily worked around the clock to stabilize the cub, adapting human medical techniques to Vakrine physiology through sheer determination and creativity. The creature they learned was named Keshare fought them at first, snapping and clawing despite its weakness. It was James who made the breakthrough. The grizzled sergeant, who had lost his entire platoon to a Vakrine ambush on Kepler 442b, sat beside the medical pod and simply talked. He told stories about his childhood in Montana, about his daughter back on Earth, about anything and everything. Slowly, incredibly, Keshare began to listen. Within a week, the cub was following James everywhere, chirping in its strange, harmonic language. Emily discovered that Vakrine young were highly intelligent and capable of rapid language acquisition. Within 2 weeks, Keshare was speaking broken English. "Why, you saved Keshare?" the cub asked one evening, its head tilted in that distinctly non-human way. "Humans and Vakrine, enemies." Marcus knelt down to the cub's level. "Because you're a child. And no child deserves to die alone in the dark." Keshare's eyes widened, processing this concept that seemed entirely foreign to everything it had been taught about humans. 3 months later, the Frontier received new orders, rendezvous with a Vakrine diplomatic vessel for a prisoner exchange. The war was going badly for both sides, and tentative peace talks had begun. Marcus's unauthorized rescue of Keshare had become a diplomatic incident, but not the kind anyone expected. The Vakrine ship that arrived was a warship, bristling with weapons. Its commander, High Marshal Threshka, was Keshare's parent. The meeting took place in a neutral cargo bay, with both sides heavily armed. Threshka was everything Marcus expected, massive, armored, radiating controlled violence. But when Keshare ran forward, chattering excitedly in Vakrine, something changed. The High Marshal's predatory stance softened. Golden eyes, so like the cub's, studied the human crew. "You healed my offspring," Threshka said, the translator rendering the harmonic speech into flat English. The pirates who attacked us were thorough. I thought. I was certain Keshare was lost. Any decent person would have done the same, Marcus replied. No, Threshka said firmly. In our empire, weakness is death. A cub unable to fight for itself is abandoned. It is our way. But you. The High Marshal paused, seeming to struggle with the words. You showed mercy to your enemy's child. This is not weakness. This is a strength we do not understand. Keshare spoke up then, rapid-fire Vakreen that made Threshka's eyes widen. The cub gestured animatedly at James, at Emily, at Marcus. My offspring says, Threshka continued slowly, that humans value life above victory. That they mourn their enemies. That they waste resources on those who cannot fight. Another pause. Keshare says this makes them dangerous in ways we never anticipated. Because they fight not for glory or territory, but for each other. Marcus met the alien's gaze steadily. Is that so wrong? Wrong? No, Captain Webb. It is terrifying. But Threshka's mandibles spread in what might have been a smile. And perhaps, it is what this galaxy needs. The High Marshal reached into a pouch and produced a crystalline token. This is my personal sigil. I am bound by honor to repay the debt of my offspring's life. I will advocate for peace with your species. And if that fails... Threshka placed a massive clawed hand on Keshare's head. Then I will remember that the fiercest warriors can also be the most compassionate. 6 months later, the war ended. Not with conquest or surrender, but with a treaty brokered by Threshka and a human delegation. Keshare served as a cultural liaison, bridging two species that had spent years trying to destroy each other. The Vakreen learned that strength comes in many forms. And humanity? They reminded the galaxy why compassion, not cruelty, is the ultimate survival trait. In the end, saving one life saved millions more. That's just what humans do.